Like the thing that I love, like I was so hyped on and like I fell in love immediately was like so many different. Like for me, it was the first time the experience that I met like so many different cultures. Like and at these parties, like at the first parties, you could see like how the different values of the people and the cultures. Like these guys, the Americans, for example, were going ham on tables, dancing, stripping, whatever. Like kind of some. I won't get too many details, but like
don't know what you're talking about.
like the other were like quiet, like the other were just like communicating and stuff. I love that, man. There are like so many different cultures like coming together. It was such an experience that I think everybody should make. Like I think getting to know new cultures is like very important. Like
welcome to this special travel edition of the It's Not That Deep podcast. I'm your host Deepak Sharma, and today I'm in the beautiful windy city of Chicago, joined by my good friends Mike and Yevgen, who I met while traveling on international exchange in Bergen, Norway. We had a great chat, reminiscing on our international exchange experiences, stepping out of our comfort zone and trying a lot of new things, getting to travel a lot, and especially meet new people. We talk about all this, and we also talk about our most recent travel experience together here in Chicago as well as in Ann Arbor, Michigan. We had a great time watching a college football game, and we get into a lot more than that. We talk about navigating through your career. Mike has been a management consultant for the past year for a company called A.T. Kearney, and Yevgen just completed his bachelor's thesis in statistics and data science. So I think it was a really interesting chat, and we had a beautiful backdrop of Chicago as well. I hope you enjoy it, and if you enjoy content like this, consider contributing to my Patreon page, subscribing to my podcast, and telling your friends about it as well. Remember, it's not that deep, and enjoy.
What up?
All right, guys, welcome to the It's Not That Deep podcast. I'm sitting here in beautiful, windy Chicago with my boys Mike and Yevgen. We got the skyline behind us. We're at a beach. Life is good. And we're doing a travel edition of the podcast, so we'll see how this works out. Mike, me, and Yevgen met on exchange, international exchange, when we studied in Norway for 6 months. Got to know each other pretty well. It was a good time. And yeah, man, now we're doing a little reunion here. We've been in Chicago for the last 3-4 days. Went to watch the Michigan game. Got to do a lot of stuff, man. Talk to everyone. Let them know who you are.
Yeah, thanks for coming through, man. My name's Mike, as was mentioned. Moved here about 6 months ago in February.
Dope.
Grew up in Pittsburgh. So it's getting a little colder out here, but it's nice now. It's nice this time of year. Yep. Fortunately, it's getting a little dark, but still got the shades on, for the podcast.
Love it.
Yeah, I had a blast in Norway. Haven't seen this guy since we were in
2017,
Montreal.
Man. Oh, yeah.
You did, what was that? You call that an Irish exit?
Irish exit, Irish goodbye. Yeah,
I saw you. I saw you just staring kind of off in the distance at the bar, and this door said "staff only," and Deepak just walks through it. And I was in 2017, but here you are, man, in Chicago. So
absolutely,
yeah.
just had
Thanks
to
for coming through, man.
Night.
It's been a blast.
It's been great, man. It's been great. And Yevgen, let's give you a little introduction here, man.
Up? I'm Yevgen. I'm coming from Germany. I was born in the Ukraine, like in a big city. Actually, it's called Dnipropetrovsk. Sounds kind of hard. It's like the second biggest city.
How do you say that?
It's Dnipropetrovsk, but like
Dnipropetrovsk.
Yeah, it was actually not that bad, but like they changed it. Right now it's just Dnipro,
Okay.
So on my passport, like it's still Dnipropetrovsk, but if I get a new passport, it's gonna just be Dnipro.
Okay, that's pretty awesome, man.
Don't ask me why, man. It's just how it is.
That's great. That's great. But you live in Germany now.
I live in Germany, like on the west coast, kind of west side.
West side.
Yeah, it's in a city called Duisburg. It's like in this area where a lot of big cities are like very close to each other, like Cologne, Düsseldorf, Dortmund.
Yeah.
Some people probably heard some of that.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's just, that's it actually. Like Germany, it's a cool place to be actually.
That's awesome, man.
Not as cool as Chicago, but it's still
Chicago's
nice
a
to
great
see.
vibe, man. I love it
Yeah.
here. We've had like a ton of fun here. We got to do some of the tourist things. We went to the Naval Pier today. We tried to go to the Sears building, but it's like a 3-hour wait.
Yeah, it's 2.5
That-
hour wait, no chance.
maybe tomorrow. Maybe
That
tomorrow.
was not happening today. But yeah, man, we got to eat a lot of really amazing food. We went on a freaking pretty badass road trip to
Yes.
Michigan, man,
God.
and got the full authentic American experience, which like is something I'll never forget, man.
Man,
Like-
it's like you see it in the movies all the time. You
Yeah.
know, for me it was just like movies. I didn't expect to see that in real life. And then we went like to this parties in the backyard of a random garden. I don't know, and it was just sick. Like,
Dude,
so
these
crazy.
fraternity parties. Let's give the mic to Mike
Yeah.
for a
Oh
second.
shit.
And let's talk about like how you set that whole thing up for us and how you set us up this last week, the last few days. Just like everything was to perfection, man. The whole tailgating, everything.
Yeah, of course. Yeah. So I went to the University of Michigan for 4 years, graduated in 2018. Best days in Ann Arbor are Saturday mornings, man. It's absolute mayhem. You're waking up at 6, 7 a.m., just getting as drunk as you possibly can with 110,000 people. There was, 110,000
Yeah,
people
man.
that game?
Over
sold out.
110,000.
You should throw in some, like, clips or
Oh yeah,
whatever.
dude.
Like,
oh yeah. I'm definitely gonna edit in some crazy clips.
No,
like,
it was absolutely nuts. So one of my roommates, born and raised in Ann Arbor, his family's still there. They're originally from New England, so pretty rowdy in general. But they just hosted all three of us. It was a night game too, which was actually even more difficult.
Yeah.
Because you had to pace yourself.
Yeah,
And,
yeah.
We won't name names or point fingers, but I think a lot of us were puking that night. But just having a blast.
I heard that's the
man.
way you're supposed to do it, though,
I
man.
may or may not have gotten us kicked out of a tailgate, but it
Oh,
wasn't all
man.
my fault.
We had we had a blast, man. As soon as we got there, we go into your friend's parents' garage, and I'm just taken aback by. I've never seen sports memorabilia on this level. Like every wall of this garage. I'll try to post a video of this, man. But the shit blew my mind. Every fucking like inch of this garage was covered in Michigan memorabilia, tickets, Tom Brady stuff, like Chicago Cubs games. Like every little ticket was kept and pasted on this wall. Die-hard fans. I've never seen anything like that. Like,
and also like the
80s.
also that thing that you can like put on your car, like there's a grill on it.
Oh,
yeah,
They had,
yeah,
like
yeah.
some hot dogs and burgers. Also
Dude.
there was like a freezer where there were like so many beers, man.
I've never seen
It's
that
so
much beer.
crazy.
And
was
this is
weird.
just what like we were lucky that it was the home opener, like the season opening
Yeah.
game, and it's September now and everyone's just starting school, everyone's coming back, and just driving through this little town of Ann Arbor, which is basically just Michigan, the university, blew my mind, man. There's just it's like what you see in the movies, just fraternities, sororities, and just people drinking in the street. Red Solo cups everywhere, and it and then the experience of like partying there and going to these random fraternities. We don't even know anyone. We just showed up.
We almost we didn't even get to the first one in.
Yeah.
They had like
Bring
their
the
own
mic a bit
security
closer.
guards. They had like their own security guard and shit. We just like went inside from the backside and it's worked out. So there are like so many ways to get in. It's like probably impossible to not get in. Like I don't
Yeah.
know. Yeah, and
Yeah.
then like only little struggle at the second party where we almost got in a fight, but
Yeah.
let's don't talk about that.
Yeah, man.
We can give them the long story short. Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, the long story short was things just got a little testy, and someone politely asked me to leave. I politely refused,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
We ended up leaving. But
we did leave.
we left peacefully. It
We
was
used
all
our
good.
better
No
judgment,
no
yeah.
violence. Just
We had a game
a lot
to
of
watch.
excitement. Yeah, just a
Yeah.
lot of excitement.
Yeah, so we then went to the tailgate, which was a whole nother experience in and of itself. And that was like, for people who don't know, man, like I'm not really familiar with this concept being from Canada, but in the States, before every football game, everyone brings out their big ass grills, big TVs, big coolers, and all like every
blow up Wolverine.
blow up
Yeah.
like, yo, talk about it a bit, man. Talk to me about tailgating and like some of that experience. for
Sure,
you.
yeah. So the guy that we stayed with, my buddy's dad, has one of the most infamous tailgates in all of Ann Arbor. They've been running that thing since the 80s. Like every game, they don't miss it. Like they have a reserved spot too. And like Yevgen was saying, they bring a van. Actually, he told us, funny story, it was a jail transport van. That's how they got it.
What?
It was used to transport prisoners. But you
That's
see,
why it
that's
was
just
so
the thing
big.
about this guy. He's so well connected.
Yeah.
Like there is not like, you know, a football related person in Arbor who does not know this man.
I mean,
Yeah.
he has, like,
So-
probably the best place in front of the stadium. Like,
Right in front of the
there.
stadium, you bring like a projector and put it over a chain link fence, so you're watching the game there. You have another TV inside the actual van itself, 3 or 4 coolers, a grill. It's probably going through 100 hot dogs easy. The band
Oh,
too.
we got to eat some of those.
We'll talk about the band.
Oh,
The marching band
man.
walks straight past them into the stadium. This tailgate is literally like 50 feet from the entrance to the stadium. So just
Nuts.
you just go crazy in the morning, you get drunk, you go to the tailgates, whatever, and then right before you get in, you go to Scotty's tailgate, get a couple dogs, a couple more Rolling Rocks, and
Oh,
you're just
man.
ready to go
We were
wild,
ready to
man.
go, man. And then so game time's about to start, and now we're going around trying to figure out how to get in, because Mike had set up student tickets for us in the student section of the big house. And I mean, I didn't really know that it would be that much more hype, but
It was crazy.
just trying to get in was hard because I'm not a student of Michigan. He's not either anymore, and Yevgen's not even from we just had to finesse it, and we were trying to find some IDs of some similar looking people, and that just didn't work out for me. But
my bad too.
but so I don't know. We went to like 7 different gates, and everyone was like, nah, like keep going, blah blah blah. And eventually, I just got in, and it was the best feeling ever. Going to the stadium, sit down. We get to like the 6th or 7th row, something ridiculously close to the front, and it just blew my mind. Like the atmosphere, I've never seen 110,000 people in one place in my life, man. Like, Yevgen, talk to me for a second about how that felt for you, for someone who hasn't even watched a professional football game.
Yeah, so basically I just know like football for me like is soccer for you. So
Yeah,
when
yeah.
I'm saying football, I mean like in this podcast I mean like American football, I call soccer.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
anyways,
yeah.
Like when you're watching a soccer game, you just have probably a seat.
Yeah.
You're sitting like chill, watch the game,
Yeah.
There's like no break. You straight play for 45 minutes, have like a
Facts.
15-minute break, and then you go for the second half.
Yeah.
And it's cool, man. But what I experienced here was mind-blowing, man. Like it was like I think we've been there for 4 hours in the
4
stadium,
total
and they
hours,
played
yeah.
like 1 hour.
Yeah.
So it was
If
like
that,
three
bro.
3 hours. It was only like dancing, singing, making bullshit, shooting like shirts into the crowd, like
Seeing the F-16, what were they?
yeah,
F-16s
like
fly
military
by.
planes flew over us like as
Jeez,
a
man.
opening. What the fuck is wrong with you Americans, man?
Yeah,
It's so sick. I'm kind of jealous.
It was actually nuts, the whole atmosphere. And to me, what really stood apart about the whole thing, I love football, big football fan. The game was fun to watch. It was the marching band, man. These motherfuckers, they were going at it, yo. I had no idea, like, there was like over 200 of them just playing the drum line, so
Yeah.
sick, the
So
little
weird, man.
chants, the little crazy dances, and all the stuff. I'm like, bro, I was overwhelmed. Like, yo, Americans do this shit different, man.
But you also like can see how much work they put in it,
A
Like,
lot, man.
I like you said before to me, like it's probably like much more harder to be on the band like than playing the game.
I actually, I genuinely believe that. Like, no disrespect to football players, but that shit is just fun. You go to practice, you go play in a game. You have hundreds of thousands of people cheering for you. No one's really cheering for the band. Like, everyone's cheering with the
Yeah.
band because they're making the music. Like that was hype, man. And we were right beside them, so we got to see their whole. They're not just playing an instrument. They're doing a dance, their choreography. They're going out on the field. They're doing halftime shows. Like, insane experience, bro. I'm so happy we got to see what American college football like. That was a great experience, man.
And it's college football, like
Yeah.
it's so weird.
Yeah, this is not even the pros, bro. This is nuts. Yeah.
I think they don't even earn money, right?
No.
Like,
No.
They can't- they-
get free tuition, free college.
man, it's still like
Who
it's
needs
still
that?
100,000 people.
Yeah.
Like it's the biggest stadium in the world. Like kind
Yeah.
of probably in India they have like some other like, but you can't count that.
Yeah.
You know, so it's the biggest stadium. It's like college football.
Yeah.
College football. I mean,
Yeah.
like Camp Nou, like in Europe, is like smaller than that. You know.
No, that's what I'm saying, man.
So weird, man. What? Tell us something, man.
Man, what can I say? It's a blast. I was there for 4 years, and it's just 6 days a year you look forward to more than anything. Like, I still remember when I moved in for my first year at Michigan, I was living in one of the dorms, and you move in at the end of August, right around when we went to this game. So I'd been there for like 2 days, just met my roommate, just met everyone on my hall, and I'll just remember like going to sleep on Friday night, and you know, it's like 7 a.m. or 6:30 or something on a Saturday morning, and there's like 6 people just pounding on my door, like absolutely pounding on it. Like, it's game day. It's game day. Like, they are going ballistic, and I am like, you guys need to shut the fuck up. Holy shit. It's not that serious. I grew up a Pitt football fan, so like, you know, it was fun, but it was never like anything close to this.
Yeah.
So eventually, you know, open the door. I'm just, you know, super groggy, and they're coming in with, I think it's Crown Royal is the vodka we had. Just absolutely disgusting. Like, pounded through the door. Like, all right, we're going to start ripping shots. And they're like, oh, like, okay, like, do you want to take a shot? Like, do you want chaser? I'm like, do I want chaser? Like,
7 in the morning.
dude, I'm from Pittsburgh, man. I just came up here. I'm about to show these guys, like, what's what. Like, it's not the first time I've drank. Like, and I took one shot of that with no chaser. I had to swallow it about 3 or 4 times to keep it down. And I
God
never made that
damn.
mistake again, dude.
Yeah.
Absolutely just disgusting.
That's crazy, man. What a
but yeah.
vibe. What a vibe out there.
It was amazing, dude. It was so much fun.
And so, taking it back a bit, when you went to Michigan, you studied what exactly?
So I studied business at Michigan. I minored in history. And that's pretty much all that I was really messing with. I wasn't about the science life, really. Wasn't my thing.
That's awesome. And Yevgen, what did you study back in Germany, bro?
So I'm like I handed my thesis in 2 weeks, like 2 weeks ago.
Congratulations, man.
Thanks, man. Thanks.
Big step,
Like
big
in,
step.
Pure economics. So yeah, I'm like the economic. I'm
This
more
guy's
into
about his money, guys. He's about his money. No.
I'm more into statistics and
Yeah,
like
yeah, yeah.
analyzing stuff and shit, and this like the direction I want to go to.
Love that, man. Love
Yeah.
that. So with that, like, what kind of general career path or stuff like that are you kind of interested in? I know you mentioned that
So-
you worked with data
Yeah. So
management and science
exactly.
a bit.
So right now I'm working like with the master data and a big wholesale company in Germany. Maybe some of you heard of it. It's called Metro.
Okay.
And yeah, in the future I just want to keep working like with data and analyzing like a business and like analyzing maybe like where a company like should put their product, and I want to specify on like medical products, like on the healthcare. So I'm gonna do my master's in healthcare management.
Oh, so you're gonna continue doing school, continue doing masters.
Yeah. Well,
That's
next
awesome,
year.
man. That's
Yeah,
awesome.
next year.
Well, where do you want to do it? Do you have any plans for like where
Yeah,
you'd want to?
so basically where I want to study is kind of like a private school.
Okay.
So the requirement is that you like have to have a full-time job.
Okay.
It's like called like Abendschule. It's like called night school.
Speak
so-
all the German you want, baby.
like
People are
integrating
gonna
the
love
German
it.
words, you know. So you just have to go to school on Friday and Saturday night. Actually, like it's hard, like have a full-time job and do that, but it's also you get a good degree, and I'm gonna do that in Düsseldorf. So it's like
Okay.
Oh, nice.
it's actually right where I'm living, like 10-15 minutes drive.
Oh, no way.
Just take duty 111 down there.
Duty 111's probably gone then. I'm thinking about buying a new whip.
That's his car.
Oh,
Yeah,
shit.
Duty
Oh, shit.
111. Yeah.
That's awesome, man. That's awesome. And so, you know, with all that, all the things that we've done and all the travel we've gotten to do, I think it's really interesting that like we've all got to come together here and kind of reconnect. Let's take it back for the people who might not know how exactly an exchange works and what that kind of entails, and let's tell people our experience meeting each other in Bergen, Norway.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Damn, man, there's a lot to talk about, man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Think first. Think before you speak.
No, all
Yeah,
good.
yeah, yeah,
All,
wait,
all
let me
good,
check.
man. I could bring a little intro for it. For me, I just remember like I've actually got family in Norway, and I've always remembered that Norway is just one of the most beautiful countries ever. Always wanted to go back, but when I had this opportunity to come on exchange, I jumped on it, and I have no regrets, man. I got to make some of the most amazing friends. We got to travel some amazing places, do some crazy experiences. We went on some crazy hikes, did a lot of partying, a little bit of studying on the side. But yeah, man, talk to me about your like first experience landing in Norway. What was it like?
Oh yeah, so basically I was coming with a friend, Dokan. Shout out Dokan if you see
Shout
that.
out Dokan,
we miss
bro.
you here. You're missing, but keep on going with your thesis. So, yeah.
We
landed
wish you were
there.
here, dog.
Yeah. So we landed there like I think Dokan and me, we were the first one to get there. We get there like 2016, like on the 28th of December.
Yep.
So actually no one was living at our like place where like actually like normally all students are living.
The dorms, yeah.
The dorms, yeah. And so it was like quite empty and like we felt like kind of shitty because of that. We didn't do anything and
So
then
we fucked up, man. Norway's empty. No
yeah,
one's here.
but we used the time it was snowing. It looks like amazing. We just went for some hikes and like we actually meet some people. One Ukrainian guy, like
Yeah.
and we went to the city center on New Year's Eve and like on the I think 5th of January like the semester started. Then we got like the first meeting with all the new exchange students who came like from all around the world, like Asia, South America, Middle America, North America, whatever, like, you know, and it was just amazing, man.
It was crazy.
Yeah, and Mike, talk a little bit too, man.
Yeah, tell us about your experience a bit, Mike.
Sure, yeah. So I flew down on New Year's Day. So I remember I went out for like a New Year's brunch or something with my family, and I went straight to the airport. And you know, it was actually a little sad. I was super looking forward to it, but just like seeing my like family leave, I was kind of like, damn, like I'm really out here. Like I think you knew Dokkan before you were going, right? And I don't know if you knew anyone but I didn't know a soul, man. I was the first person from my school to ever go to the Norwegian School of Economics, and no one was going with me.
That's
I was just out here, man. And
just repping for USA.
but
man.
I just remember flying in, landing, finally. It was hectic. I had like 2 or 3 connections, but I met up with a couple people. Hong Kong Chris, I think, was the first person I met at the place where we picked up the keys. And I just remember, like you said, it was snowing like crazy, and it was just so picturesque. I was so fired up, and just there's something I'll say, man. Like, not many people would choose to study abroad in Norway.
No.
You know, like almost everyone I know would be like, oh, let's go to Barcelona, France, whatever. And those are cool places, but I think there's just something about a person who picks Norway.
Yeah.
We all had something in common, man. And it was like, you know, people just interacting, just talking, getting to know each other, and finding that common ground. Like, we had these parties in the kitchens.
Oh, man.
So our dorms were, I don't know what it's like in Canada actually,
Yeah.
but there's not like a dining hall. It's basically you have your rooms, then you have a communal kitchen. And so it was the only place with enough space for us to like have parties. We'd have like 100 people in these kitchens going crazy. Like, and everyone was invited. I like that too. It was very inclusive. There were no cliques. It was just, you know, 120 people or so just vibing.
Yeah, man, that's pretty much what it was. There was no like, these people are only gonna hang out with these people. Like, no, man. It was like everyone. We almost had like a bit of a frosh week, like a freshman coming on exchange, and the first experience was straight up like 1 week of just being hammered, just being fucked up, and meeting people from all over the world. I remember like meeting yourself, meeting you, Dokkan, all these people from Brazil, France, Canada. I met a lot of other Canadians, like, and Canada's so big that it's like someone from Vancouver, someone from North Bay, someone like all over the place, right? You got to see a lot, meet a lot of people, and alcohol helps because, you know, at first,
yeah.
it's a little bit of an icebreaker, right? Everyone's just in these kitchens throwing these crazy parties, lots of music playing, lots of mingling, and then everyone kind of found like the people that they kind of that they vibe with and want to go do some travel with. And I remember you had gone to Tromsø, right?
Yeah.
You went up north, and that's like a fucking very cold. It's up north Norway, right?
Yeah. It's Arctic Circle.
Yeah, so it like that's a crazy experience, you know, but you would not have just done that solo, you know, but you met some people, and you know, I remember like, was it like those dogs, like the dog sledding, and like just jet ski or snow, what do you call it, snowmobile, that kind of shit. Like, bro, I remember seeing that, like, man, I got to do some shit like that. I got to do some travel as well. We went down to Copenhagen. I think, did we do Sweden? I think we did. I think we did Sweden
Oh
as
my
well.
God,
Stockholm.
Sweden.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We did that like with Bonto with the funny story.
Oh yeah. That was too funny,
Stockholm,
bro.
man.
Yeah.
I had my own funny story there too.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
well, just didn't make my flight home, but I got back eventually. So.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
Was your throat all fucked up or something?
No, I'd
that's
strep
Denmark.
throat in
Yeah.
Denmark, but I was still drinking Bombay Sapphire every night, like just trying to ignore it. And then
You just ate it, and
the last day it was like I was like, I
gosh.
need to go to the hospital. I
Yeah.
walked in and the guy's like, open your throat, and I opened it and he was like, holy shit, like you have strep, like you have strep, like yeah.
Man, we got to experience a lot.
Oh.
I could sit here all day and that's badass.
Sorry, no, my bad.
That's crazy.
I was just gonna share a quick story about
go for it.
Copenhagen. Some of the viewers might recall this, but coming back from Denmark, yeah, it was rough. We got back, and I was sick, really sick. Just wanted to get back to my apartment. I walk into my apartment. It's like 1 a.m. or something, and I walk inside, and everything's in like a different place, and I'm like, this is weird. Like, how did this happen? Like, my bed is in my living room, my like bedside table's in my living room, like everything's switched. There's a TV in my room, like just a random like box TV,
just
like 20 years
there.
old. I'm like, what is going on? And at this point, I'm really confused, but I'm so tired, I like don't even really care. And I just go to the bathroom, like I just need to shower, like I feel gross. And I walk in, and my bathroom is completely covered in like toilet paper. It got TP'd. Like every roll of toilet paper I had was used up. It was just unreal. And so I find out, we had some people over for drinks in my room, and Penelope, one of our friends from Montreal, had asked to borrow my keys to like go outside or something. And I had 2 keys to my room, and she took one, and I didn't notice. So while I was gone in Denmark, these people ransacked my room.
Oh my
It was
God.
JJ, Jerome, Clement, and Penelope. So shout out. I got Penelope back. That was pretty funny. But yeah, I mean,
That's so funny, man.
we had fun.
Yevgen, share one of your memorable stories, bro.
Man, I just want to add something like to the first week that we talked about, like
Yeah,
the
yeah.
partying and stuff.
Yeah.
Like the thing that I love, like I was so hyped on and like I fell in love immediately was like so many different, like for me it was the first time the experience that I met like so many different cultures, like, and at these parties, like at the first parties, you could see like how the different values of the people and the cultures, like
Yeah.
these guys, the Americans, for example, were going ham on tables, dancing,
Yeah,
stripping,
yeah,
whatever,
yeah.
like kind of some. I won't get too many details, but like
Don't
the
know what
other
you're
were
talking about.
like the other were like quiet, like the other were just
Yeah.
like communicating and stuff.
Yeah.
I love that, man. There are
Yeah,
like so
yeah,
many
yeah.
different cultures like coming together. It was such an experience that I think everybody should make. Like I think getting to know new cultures is like very important. Like
I
even
think
like-
it's very important because not only are you stepping out of your own comfort zone physically and now you're in other people's culture, but now you're trying to respect their point of
Yeah.
view and understand where they're coming from.
also,
because
yeah. Sorry.
Go ahead.
No, I just want to say also it can like help when you travel. You can like adjust to the people and don't like come like act like a weirdo.
Yeah.
For you maybe it's normal, but for them it can be like not.
Yeah,
not
some people can be really put off by
Yeah.
some things you do, but on the flip side, some people can really love the
True,
things you're
true,
doing and
exactly.
bring that back home.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, you know what? Why don't I ever talk to strangers?
Yeah.
I should talk to more strangers. There's nothing wrong with it. No one's gonna
Yeah.
bite. But whereas in some cultures, that's like completely like, nah, man, don't
Yeah,
sit
yeah,
next to
yeah,
me on
yeah.
the bus. Whereas other cultures are like, hey, how you doing? Where you from? What's your story? So it's like, I find that very interesting.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
get a new perspective for sure.
So one of the things that I think I enjoyed the most about the exchange was watching other people experience things for the first time.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I think our friend Rafael from Brazil saw snow for the first time or something.
Yeah, shout
Or
out
just
Rafael,
like
bro.
watching people see snow for the first time, I always enjoy because I've had snow, I've had snow, every year of my life. But even just like the food too, that was the best part of the communal kitchen, was that everyone was always cooking like the first thing. So I think some of my friends,
food was so expensive.
Some of my friends
we
from
had
like
to cook.
Asia had never had mac and cheese before.
Yeah.
And so when my mom came through like to see me or whatever, I was like, we need some mac and cheese.
I
And my
was
mom
one of
knows how to make that mac and cheese.
I was
Shout
one
out to my mom's mac and cheese.
They were very good. My first time. And like the
Chicken
international
wings
dinner,
too, yeah.
The international
Toss him
dinner,
the mic.
like the international dinner, like where people did some food from their country, was like
Oh, yeah.
also like a dope experience. It like, I don't know, I don't remember what you guys did, but yeah.
I think I might have just bought some like store-bought butter chicken or some bullshit. Honestly, that sounds like something I would have done.
It's good enough, man.
But yeah, man, like I don't know, I love those nights and those, like, you know, we'd get together sometimes and watch movies in the common room. There were like times we had like a beer pong tournament. Like, yo, what I love.
Screw you, dude.
I beat Mike.
No,
He's still salty about
I
it.
forget who your teammate was, but he was on fire all night. He was a problem.
Whatever. So I lost my train of thought there a little bit, but all that to say, man, exchange, we got to do some pretty hype shit. We got to, you know, do beer pong tournaments, and like I like that the school kind of fostered this environment too. They were cool with everyone kind of doing whatever within reason. Like, don't be ridiculous, don't be like you know, partying way too late or anything, but for the most part, like, we were able to do kind of whatever we wanted.
I don't think there were
man.
any boundaries, to be completely honest with you.
Yeah, man, it was like boundaries we kind of set on ourselves. Like, look, man, like, let's not completely trash this place, but like we had fun.
6 month spring break, like you called it. Like,
Yeah.
I remember the first time Mike told, like I asked Mike, like, how do you think about that exchange? He said like it's a 6 month spring break.
Pretty much,
and
man.
It pretty much was like.
The school part wasn't
Yeah.
really that important. We still had to study. We still had to go to class. We still had to do this and that. But man, it was like, it was pretty light.
Some of them. Some
Yeah.
of us. Some of us. Yeah.
I mean, I think I needed a 50 to pass. Like, I need a passing grade.
Yeah.
And like in Norway, the way they had it set up, I think it was like your final exam is worth 100% of your marks. So I'm like, bet. So I'm basically off school for 4 months, and I'll study for 2 weeks before these exams, you know, brush up on my. That was such random classes too for master's courses. Like, I took like the natural economy. I don't know, like just
I had a course
natural
called like
resources.
East Asian culture and communication. You
Yeah.
know? Like the import was pretty interesting, but like it doesn't bring me like farther in my life, kind of, you know.
No, exactly. Yeah, man. Yeah, switching gears a bit though, after exchange, we've all still kind of kept in touch. We've all kind of done our own thing, and like Mike is now working full time here in Chicago as a consultant. Talk to us about that a bit. What the transition from, you know, our fun exchange and Michigan kind of life as well to now full time working and grinding and hustling.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely a transition. I'd be lying if I said it was, you know, smooth and I showed up, you know, knowing everything was going to go smoothly. It was hard. I mean, I joined at a different time. So I work at A.T. Kearney in Chicago. It's a management consulting firm. So doing a lot of strategy and operations-based consulting for a lot of pretty big companies all across the world. Chicago is actually the headquarters, so there's a big office here and a lot of people. So that's been really cool. But yeah, I mean, it was tough. I had 1 week of training, and then I just was going right to the client site.
They threw you right in.
They threw me right in, man. So
Yeah.
I travel Monday through Thursday every week pretty much. Fly out to wherever I have to go, and I stay in a hotel and then fly back Thursday.
Nice.
And it's really cool. I mean, the problems that you work on and the exposure that you get, and you know, you're really solving challenging problems, but it's hard, man.
You do
Like,
get to learn a lot, but it's hard. It's
Yeah.
challenging, man. Like,
Yeah.
and to anybody who's like looking to get into the consulting field, what kind of advice would you have for them? And like, kind of telling them, hey, man, like, it's really not as glamorous doing all this travel as you
Yeah.
think. That kind of thing. Like, tell us about that a bit, man.
That's true. So I would definitely say that the travel is a lot, but there's obviously perks to that. Frequent flyer miles, the hotel points and everything. And it's enjoyable. I mean, you won't really get to travel so much in the place that you go, but, you know, a lot of times you can spend a weekend there if staying in the hotel is like the same price as like flying back. But
Yep.
at the end of the day, I would say, like the first thing I'd say is don't choose consulting because of the travel, and don't not choose consulting because of the travel.
Okay.
It's more so about the work. Like if you really like problem solving and you like kind of going into something that's going to impact a lot of people and really kind of driving that forward, then it's really rewarding. I mean, the stuff that I've worked on has been really cool. I can't talk in too many specifics, but
that's fine, man.
But yeah, I would say in terms of like getting a consulting job or anything like that, just talk to people who've done it. Talk to people that you kind of trust. See if it's right for you. But then I would say kind of commit yourself pretty early. It's difficult, especially with the case interviews. Basically, to get like a consulting job, you have to do several of these case interviews where
Right.
you basically solve a business problem in real time under like some pressure. But it's just something you need to practice. So I probably took it too far. I prepared for like 2 years or something for these interviews. But just you don't want to decide like a week before, because you won't be able to do as well as you would like.
No,
so.
exactly. That's great advice, man. I love that. Back home at my school, they have like, because I went to business school as well, and I remember they had like these fast track kind of things into the profession of management consulting, where you could do kind of case competitions and that kind of stuff. And there were legit clubs like dedicated to case cracks and that kind of stuff. And I remember you provided me with some pretty interesting resources when I was looking into the consulting field as well, and I can share those below if anyone might get some value from that. But that's really great, man. That's awesome. I'm happy for you. You're excelling in your career, working crazy hours, but I'm happy we could make this happen. And that's awesome, bro. That's awesome. Yevgen, let's talk to you a little bit, man. You've been quiet in that little corner there. Sorry, I wish I brought my third mic.
We might be able to bring these beers out now.
It's pretty spontaneous, man. So
I think we could, man. I think we could, honestly. Like
the American Rolling Rock, or what is it called? I
yeah,
forgot.
the Rolling Rock.
It's actually not that bad.
So let's talk about our experience here as non-Americans and just the food that we've been eating since we got here. When I landed here and met with Yevgen a few days ago, we went to this Mexican restaurant, and Yevgen was overwhelmed by the menu, to say the least. We saw that, and I had to kind of just walk him through what some of these options are. You could get a quesadilla, you could get a burrito, you could get enchiladas, all kinds of things, right? And he was pretty hungry at the time, and I was too, and we sat down, and I told him to get the burrito, and this thing came out. And why don't you describe it to them, man?
Man, so basically, we don't have so many Mexican places in Germany.
Nice. This guy's got
So we don't have so many Mexican places in Germany, and you said like, get the burrito. Like, I know what a burrito is,
Yeah.
but I didn't expect like this shitload of food.
It was like that fucking big,
like,
man, with a bunch of sauce on top. Hey, cheers, boys.
Cheers.
This is awesome.
So
Keep it low key though.
Yeah. Sorry.
All good.
Cheers, my friend. So it was so huge, and I was like so hungry, because the only meal I got on this day was like in Amsterdam, where I took the plane. Like it was probably like 14-15 hours ago.
Yeah.
And I was starving, and then I get like this burrito, and it was so huge, man. And I didn't finish it. It was like probably the first time in my life that I didn't finish the food on my plate,
I had to introduce to him the concept of a to-go box.
Oh, really? I remember that,
Yeah.
We're all about that here.
Yeah,
So
man.
crazy,
It's a large portion of food, but I told them, look, man, by the end of this little trip here in America, I feel like you're going to be able to eat more food.
Yeah,
And,
like I saw that today, for example.
Yeah,
man.
man. Oh,
It was
bro.
so crazy. Like
Still full.
like if we're gonna talk about this American experience, it's like my second time in the States. I've been last year to California and Nevada, and like it's actually the same thing. It's a different city. Like the skyline is amazing. We don't have
So
something like that. It's
beautiful,
like so beautiful, but like everything is so big. Like the streets are big, the buildings are big, people are big. You know what I mean? Like everything is big, man.
Yeah, man. America just does everything big.
They want to have like the biggest balls. I feel,
I feel like
show the whole
I feel
world.
like, man, just getting away from that for a second, like it's just going through Chicago. We did this architecture boat tour throughout the Chicago River, going through the city. We got to see all the buildings and all the architecture here, and like what like blew my mind about that whole thing. We learned a lot, like so many different facts throughout that whole thing. What blew my mind about the whole thing was at the end, what the lady said is like how Chicago is the city where pretty much people just have a dream and they just make it happen.
Yeah,
like
yeah,
any idea you have, this is like the city that's like an example of like, yo, you want to build something, make something,
Just do it,
just
man.
do it.
I think she said, I don't know, I don't remember when it was, but like at one point Chicago burned down because
Yeah.
there's like a paper factory or something, and it like burned down almost the whole city, and this took like a lot of architects. They saw like a chance to grow
Yeah.
and get big here, so they moved here, and they all so actually they built the whole country, you know.
Yeah.
Like the whole city, sorry. And yeah, it's amazing like how many like different styles of buildings we have here. Like some of them, like for example the Trump Tower is like
Yeah,
huge, make like of
massive.
only out of glass actually. Then there are some like the deco art, I think
Art
she-
Deco something.
Art
yeah,
Deco
yeah.
something like that's like squared windows with some.
Yeah.
I don't actually know. Like it's so cool. Like yeah, like I said before, we don't have that like in, especially not where I live. You know, like the big buildings and shit. It's so weird.
No,
man.
back in Germany, like you were saying, like the tallest story building in your city is like 30, right?
Yeah.
The building we're staying
probably,
at,
yeah,
Mike's
it's not bigger
building
than
is
30,
like
no chance.
55 or some crazy
Yeah.
thing. Like that's nuts, bro.
That's nuts. Like you
the,
living
the,
on
build, the scale here
Yeah.
is just wild, man. I love it. I
Yeah.
love it. It's amazing, and it's just one of many American cities that are like that as well. So I really like it. I'll be back here for sure, man.
Yeah.
And let's talk about our little hike to Trolltunga. I feel like
Oh,
that's
man.
something that I do want to bring up before we end this podcast, because
Yes, absolutely.
it was a hell of an experience, man. To give people a little bit of like history, Trolltunga is directly translated as the troll's tongue in Norway, and it's this hike. You got to do a pretty decent hike to get up this mountain, and it's this big rock that sticks out. It's a rock formation that sticks out, and people stand on it. There's a fjord, and you take epic photos, and it just looks badass. But let's talk to people about the adventure behind it.
Definitely, man. So it was like a 4-hour drive to Oda.
Yeah.
From Bergen. That was step one. And driving in Norway is amazing. I mean,
so
I've never
scenic.
been so happy to be in a car for 4 hours. It's just impossibly beautiful
Yep.
everywhere you go. Like the water is perfectly still, reflecting the snowy mountains and everything, the whole 9 yards. But yeah, that's definitely probably the biggest athletic like achievement of my life in terms of like stamina and that kind of thing.
Yeah,
It
me
was
too.
like it was shout out to Chicago. It was 11 kilometers each way, and so it was May. It was mid-May, and
Yeah.
so I'm thinking, all right, I got shoes like this on.
Yeah.
I got my jeans or whatever. Like
Yeah.
we're just gonna scramble up this mountain. It'll be all good. But no, it was an 8-hour hike for me, but it was like 6 hours walking through the snow.
Yeah, man.
And, yeah.
The snow was high, bro. Every step you took, and me, I'm a big ass guy. Every step I took, I sunk like 2 feet. I was like, no, bro, this can't be. And it started off like, it's so hilarious. It started off like the weather was fucking nice. We're at the bottom, like it's like hot out almost. Like
Yeah.
I'm like, I got too many layers. Got my big ass backpack, my hiking boots. Like I was ready for this shit, I thought. And then
Intense too.
yeah. And the first kilometer up is just literally like up. It's like so steep. You got to walk up these rocks. It's like I'm sweating like 10 minutes into this thing. And then we get to like near the top of what I thought was like, you know, like, all right, we could start this hike now. It's going to be like this.
Yeah.
It's just snow. I'm like, what? Okay. Shit. And I remember we'd walk up, and we had like these sticks. I think like we found these sticks, and we're
Yeah.
kind of like walking through and like making it work. I'm like, it's kind of flat, like it's not too bad at the beginning, but just the snow was so deep. And then we encountered this like a ski hill almost, like that's what it looked like, but it wasn't for skiing. And we walked up that, and I was like, we had to take breaks. Like I remember we stopped, Some people are changing their socks already, like snacks.
No, we had the plastic bags.
Yeah,
We had the plastic bags waterproofing our shoes.
Yeah,
Ridiculous.
that's all we had was those plastic bags. We literally put them in our shoes, and imagine, so nasty. And we climb up. We get to like near the top of this. we get like to the top of like this one what I thought was like a little ski hill mountain, and I'm like, all right, yeah, you know what? We're almost there. Like it's not too bad. Like actually, I didn't think this is that bad. And then you go around the corner and you just look up and it's like 8 of those that you just did, and you're like, nah, bro, how are we gonna do that? Like what are you talking about? And so we did that, and it seemed like every turn it just got steeper and steeper, and I was losing my willpower, man. I couldn't turn around. I'm in this now, so I gotta do
we
it.
were committed for sure.
But it's like we didn't even really know exactly where we were going, other than the fact that there are these like little signs every few kilometers that tell you, yeah, man, you're like another 8 kilometers away from it. Like, which doesn't sound like a lot, but going up a mountain in 3 feet snow.
Yeah, it was tough because it was later in the day, and so whenever you stepped in the snow, you would sink. So you would, if each step was taking you up like, I don't know, like half a foot, you were sliding down like 2/3 of that. Like it was, so you're basically like almost swimming your way up this mountain, just exhausted. And the thing is, you can't really like, just eat snow or whatever. That's not good. It'll like, I don't know, dehydrate you because it takes more water to like, I don't know. See, I told you earlier, like science isn't my thing. But like, you know what I'm talking about.
You can't
Canadians
eat
out here, you know. You can't be eating snow like that, like for water.
Yeah.
But they did have like some of that glacial water, and that was the most delicious water of my life, dude.
So
oh
clean,
my
man.
God.
Filling up your water bottle with that, like
everywhere in Norway, you can just drink it, like straight up, like no pesticides, no whatever. Just take your bottle, stick it in there, man. Change your life.
I love that about that experience, man.
But as you get higher up on the mountain, there's no streams like that. So I actually remember, and Bontu, if you're watching, you'll remember this. We were climbing up and we were finding these rocks that had puddles. And I was literally like bending down to like drink out of puddles because I was so thirsty, man. Like Bontu had these blueberries. I was like crushing her blueberries and drinking out of puddles. And I was like, dude, like I don't really like roll like that. Like I don't really like, I'm not like, one of these Canadian outdoorsmen, like mountaineers, like.
That's too funny, man.
Yeah.
I remember we got to the top, and I'm thinking, someone's already got all the tent situation, everything figured out. We had a teepee. It was a big-ass teepee, and that means it had no bottom. So we kind of just had to make a bottom.
I can't talk about it. I wasn't there.
We had to make this, like, bottom thing, and then we just had to survive this night in the cold. And long story short, Trolltunga was a hell of an experience. Loved it, like learned a lot about myself throughout that. And but yeah, we did get to go on some other hikes, man. Like we got to go out and like experience Norway and like
a hike right at our,
just give him the mic.
right at
Just give him the mic.
Oh, yeah, there you go.
right
Sorry,
at
man.
Hatleberg. It was the place where we lived. We had like also the like, I don't remember.
7 mountains.
Yeah, there were like kind of stairs out of rock.
Oh
something
yeah,
like that.
yeah, I
You can,
remember.
like,
Stole
people
something.
were like fighting who will be the fastest. Like they stopped the time. Like and it's there are like a lot of Stolzen stairs, something like that.
Yeah.
There are a lot of like opportunities and like places you can hike, like Ulriken, for example.
Yeah,
and
someone.
shit.
Yeah, I remember doing Ulriken.
Yeah.
That one was ham. That was like 8 hours.
I mean, the whole city is between of 7 mountains. You
Yeah,
know? So
some people do all 7 in a
Yeah.
day. Like it's crazy. But yeah, man, Norway was an like amazing experience. Coming back to it, like we got to meet a lot of people. I got some lifelong buddies and a lot more. Shout out to all you out there. But I'm really happy that we have the opportunity to do this and connect and actually shoot a podcast and reminisce on this shit, man.
It worked out pretty well, man.
and
Yeah,
it's
not
like,
bad.
Chilling with the cops.
I think
Yeah, chilling with the cops right now.
I think it's like you can see that it's not actually that hard to stay in contact, even it's like such a big distance, you know.
It's not,
So,
man. I think
If you
that,
want to, you can do it. Like
I think that's a great point you made there, because in our busy lives with everything capturing our attention, you still can make time for the people that you care about, which is friggin' awesome. We gotta end this soon. I think we're already at almost an hour,
Damn.
which is crazy.
Yeah.
But I'm gonna ask you guys one more question before I do our lightning round, where I'm gonna just ask you 5 rapid fire questions.
That's sick. Okay.
But I'm gonna just ask you one question quick before that. if you wanted to give some kind of advice to 17-year-old you, what would it be?
Man, travel more, man. See the world. Like, don't spend your money on like things that like materialistic things that you can like probably throw away like 2 years later, man. Just collect memories, you know, like travel around the world and see stuff, and that's the best investment you can make. Like,
I love it. Great answer, man.
Yeah, I would agree with that. And I think what I'd tell myself personally is to just go for it. Just in life, just go for it, man. Like, whether it's traveling or whether, you know, you're like, for me, I was on the basketball team, and my coach, like, he was a great dude. He was a great coach, but he was one of those guys who, like, if you took a shot and missed, he'd be taking your head off. He'd be like, get your head out of your ass, like all this shit. But at the end of the day, man, life's too short not to shoot, man. You got to shoot your shot. So, you know, if you're in for 5 or 10 minutes, put up 5 or 10 threes, dude. Fuck it. Like, don't hold back. And I think that's, you know, kind of what the exchange was for me. It was like leaving behind everything I knew to just go just vibe with people I don't know and get to know them. And like, I just, you know, it would have been great to have done that a bit earlier in life just to kind of, you know, get more out of it. But life's too short not to shoot your shot, man. You got to go for it.
Well, man, we're
slide into the DMs, man. Just slide right in.
We're sitting next to someone who took that to the other level, even past friendships. You're actually in a relationship with somebody that you met on exchange.
True, yeah.
Shout out to Ophelia.
Shout out to Ophelia.
Yeah, man. Like, and that's something that, like, you know, it might sound like a little cliche, but it's like you went on an exchange and you met somebody that, you know, it's changed your life for sure.
Definitely, yeah.
And you've changed her life as well. And I love you guys, man.
Yeah, I love you too, bro.
That's
not
awesome.
that deep.
It's not that deep. All right, let's do this lightning round before we head off and have complete darkness on this beach.
How does it work? Is it 5 questions for me and for Yevgen?
I'm going to ask a question, and you guys each answer however you want.
Okay, cool. So I'll just go and then pass.
Yeah, exactly. So first question. And I usually do this from my Patreon contributors, but I couldn't do that while traveling. Sorry, guys. I'll make up for it. So the first question is: out of all the places you've traveled, what's your favorite destination?
I can start if you want.
Okay, I'll let you go.
Like, it was always also on the exchange. It was Iceland, man. Iceland is such a beauty.
Iceland.
We were so lucky with the weather. Like, driving at night, like dancing northern lights above us. Go to Iceland, man.
Love it.
So, best city in the world. Shout out to Pittsburgh. I'm gonna throw that in there real quick.
Okay.
No, but the coolest place I've ever traveled to would be Svalbard. So that's the islands north of Norway, where there's 3,000 polar bears to like 2,500 people. So when we were up there, we went snowmobiling under the northern lights. I hit like 75 miles an hour on the snowmobile, going over like frozen rivers. We saw wild reindeer, northern lights. Like, our guide had a rifle to protect against polar bears because you're required to by law.
Polar bears will fuck you up, bro.
It just felt like being at the end of the world, man. So
That's
Svalbard
crazy.
was amazing.
Yeah, man. Like, cold places are much underrated, man. Like, Like, not the best destinations aren't like summer beach chilling and it's like traveling to cold places.
I think Norway, they had that like phrase, right? Like, there's no such thing as bad weather, just bad clothing. That stuck with me because whenever people complain about petty bullshit like, oh, it's raining outside, like, wear a fucking rain jacket and just move on with your day. Anyways, it's not that deep. Let's go to question 2. If you could have gone to any college other than the one you went to, where would you go?
To be honest, like, I can only like talk about which colleges I saw, and it's probably gonna be San Diego or like Michigan, man. Like,
San Diego or Michigan.
Both colleges look just incredible. We don't have things like that, you know.
Badass.
Yeah, so for me, I'd actually have to say Pitt, University of Pittsburgh. I had some friends who went there coming out of high school.
Yeah.
And Oakland is just Oakland is a city in Pittsburgh where Pitt is, and it's honestly one of the coolest college towns I've ever been to. It's such a cool vibe, man, and I love it, man. I've spent a lot of time there.
That's not to say you're cheating on Michigan, but great answer. All right, question number 3. This is random. I fucking just thought about this earlier. Would you rather be able to replay old memories or be able to see up to 1 hour in the future?
I would probably like. This is a hard one, you know. Like, go back to other like to think.
Any time like you'd be able to replay it and put it on the screen,
Oh,
or
I mean, okay.
if you could see an hour
Okay,
into
got
the
it, got
future
it.
at any time.
I'm going like for seeing like old things, you know, because why like just like let the time go, you know.
Right.
Let the time go. You will see it anyways in an hour, so fuck it. Like you can like better memories.
Dope. I love
Yeah.
the answer.
Yeah, I guess so. I just went back and forth in the past like few seconds because on the one hand, I wanted to say an hour in the future because then it's like, oh, like what's the lottery ticket going to be? Win the lottery, make all this money. But then it's like you have all this money and you see into the future at all times. Like how
Right.
can life be that fulfilling? Like
No, it
if I'm
can't.
watching the NBA finals, like
already
I know
know
who's
what
going to
happened.
score.
Yeah.
If I'm watching the Stanley Cup, I already know Crosby's
Yeah.
like putting it in the back of the net. Well,
Yeah.
I already knew that anyways. Shout out to the Penguins. But yeah, like at a certain point,
Yeah.
it's like you have all this money, you know what's happening. Like, is it that fulfilling?
Yeah.
Like, I'd rather just be able to kind of relive the experiences
Yeah.
with my friends because that's more valuable than money, anyways.
That'd be amazing.
Yeah.
I think that'd be like the greatest thing if you could pull this up like a third person view. Like, hey, yo,
Especially my
remember when that happened? Yeah.
childhood, like,
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Damn, that's true. Like when you're young as hell.
Yeah.
when you're
Next
young.
question,
Young Mike.
young Mike.
with the mic.
Question number 4. What was the most challenging part of business school for each of you?
I would say probably like writing my thesis
Yeah.
because
So
in
happy
Germany-
I didn't have to do that.
Yeah, we have to do that, and like I'm writing my thesis in health econometrics.
Okay.
It's called health. I think that's the English word for it.
Yeah.
I'm writing about like, so I'm my topic was like, do people like when they lose their job, do they gain weight and get more depressive? Like.
Oh,
this
okay,
was the way I
okay.
had,
Looking at
treat-
like the statistics of,
yeah,
of
exactly,
health
like,
data and
I
stuff
was-
like that.
Yeah, I made some regressions like with statistic problems and shit.
Dope.
And that was hard because it was the first time that you make your own empirical work, you know, and like have to analyze data and also like my professors.
One sub question to that: what was one of the most high level, like crazy conclusions that you arrived at?
So I also liked made 4 categories. It was northern, like north, east, west, and what did I
South.
say? So yeah, north, east, south, and west Europe. And like the people in East Europe like earn less money, have less jobs, but still like kind of have a lower weight, which
Mm.
is so different from the other parts of Europe.
Right.
I can't explain why. Maybe because like the infrastructure is different also, but this is that.
Or if you have more, you probably eat more. I don't know.
I don't know. Yeah.
Okay.
Let me answer that real quick. I would say the most challenging part of business school for me was networking and trying to join clubs and do extracurriculars because it just felt like you always had to try to be someone you weren't. Because it's such a big part of getting a job. And
Yeah.
the way I describe it is like you just got to play the game, man.
Yeah.
Like sometimes it sucks. Like sometimes you got to like try to, you know, get people to like you. But the truth is that's a big part of business and just life in general is being able to make people like you by being yourself is like huge skill to learn.
It's a huge skill, especially while you're still trying to figure out who that somebody is, and while you're in school.
Yeah, that's true too.
It's tough, man, and that's a great answer.
I
Last.
wasn't always the party king of Norway, man. I had to learn that.
No, that's true, man.
I don't believe you.
Shout out to the queen, Dokkan, right? Party queen.
All right. Last and final question before I let you guys go is, what is your favorite late night eats in Chicago and for you in Duisburg? Duisburg, sorry.
Yeah. My late night. We don't have so many places that like open at late night. to be
You
honest.
know there's a spot that you hit up on a night out with
Yeah,
your
it's-
boys.
It's like I can say what it is. It's döner. Like if you want to
Oh,
eat a good
döner.
döner, it's like kebab, like you call it. It's not the right word, by the way, but this is
I said some animosity there, bro. It's like, bro, let's get kebab. It's done it.
it's döner, man. It's döner. Yeah, there are.
Do you like the wrap or the open one?
So the wrap is like easier to eat, you know.
Durum, right? Durum.
It's dürüm. Yeah, it's dürüm.
Durum.
It's Turkish word. Yeah, it's like easier to eat, but the real döner is like the real thing, you know.
Yeah.
So I can't tell you like a specific place, but it's like this food.
Dope. Love it. And Mike?
If you know me, you know what this answer's gonna be, and it's
Yeah.
not my favorite late night food. It's not anything.
I have to answer this.
You
man.
can answer it, man.
It's definitely Taco Bell.
Taco Bell, dude. I love Taco Bell. I love it so much.
Oh man.
It's all about the burritos, man. To be honest, I don't even really eat the tacos there. Just get yourself a shredded chicken burrito, get some fire sauce. If you're not getting fire sauce, don't go to Taco Bell. Just don't even go. You're doing it wrong. Shout out to the Cheesy Gordita Crunch. Shout out to the Crunch Wrap Supreme. Shout out to the breakfast menu. Super underrated. Just,
Great answers.
I'm so full.
Thank you
but
guys so
it's not,
much.
It's not over. I might get some Taco Bell.
Everybody knows that Mike's loving Taco Bell, so
Yeah,
Taco Bell, if you see this, like, we'll get in touch. I'd love to be sponsored or something. I'll eat it every day if I have to.
Same here, man.
what about you, man? What's your
Oh, for me, late night eats in Ottawa, Canada. I have to go with there's a place called Shawarma Palace. All right, it's what we're known for. Ottawa's like the shawarma capital of the fucking world, bro. We have a shawarma shop on every corner, and as much as like it's extremely unhealthy and like not good for you at all, even though they try to market it that way, like healthy fucking little salad in here, throw a little lettuce, bro. You hit that garlic dip with the hummus and you got a platter with rice and like the potatoes and everything in it. It's just like, you know, those styrofoam containers, they can't even close because it's overflowing with that much food, and you eat that whole thing on a night out.
Thanks, bro.
It's a surefire way to hate yourself in the morning.
Yeah.
Anyways, thank you so much for coming on the podcast, boys.
Of course, man. Thanks for having us.
Can't wait to do it again in a different city or in a different environment and link up with you guys again. And just remember, it's not that deep.
It's not that deep, man. Thanks for coming through Chicago.
Thanks, bro.
Yeah.
I really enjoyed that conversation with Yevgen and Mike, and I got a lot of value from it. I hope you did as well. If you did, please subscribe to my channel below and also contribute to my Patreon page. Rate my podcast on Apple Podcasts or wherever you watch it. Or just hit me up. Let's start a dialogue. Remember, it's not that deep.